I wonder, are you one of those people that likes to do things spontaneously? Or are you instead somebody who likes to plan everything out, to know what you're doing, how you're going to do it, and when, and think of all the issues that might arise? Well, this morning my plan was to be writing my all-age slot for this coming Sunday, but my daughter asked if she could come to Clevedon to meet up with a friend that she's not been able to see during lockdown, and so here I am in Clevedon, and what a blessing to be enjoying this lovely morning in such wonderful circumstances as these, giving me a chance for another interesting opening to my all-age slot. Of course, such situations can carry their own degree of risk, and if I pan around and look at the sky behind me, you can see that it might have been a good idea to bring an umbrella, but more of risk later. So, home again. For the observant of you who've noticed a shirt change, it's not because I got caught in that rain shower, instead rather a careless effort eating chocolate ice cream on the seafront at Clevedon. Anyway, back to our subject of the day, planning. Now, after that introduction, those of you who know me well might be waiting to see if I'm going to try and pass myself off as one of those who likes to do things spontaneously. You can relax. I'm happy to admit that I'm one of life's planners. In fact, for the majority of my 37-year career at Rolls-Royce, planning was a major part of my work. I've planned projects that were to cost hundreds of millions of pounds and employ hundreds of people for up to 10 years. It might even be said that I was an expert. Perhaps unsurprisingly, I've tried to bring that same skill into use at church, most particularly as part of the team that organises events like Party in the Garden and the Passover Supper. So, how does an experienced planner cope with the message in today's Bible passage? It's from the letter of James, and with apologies to the purists, if I paraphrase, he says, "You're full of grand plans about what you're going to be doing to get rich, but you don't even know the first thing about tomorrow. You should be thinking, if it's God's plan and we're still around, then we'll do it." It might be easy to think that James is trying to tell us that God doesn't want us to do any planning. Imagine what life would be like without any plans. You wouldn't know what time to get up for school because there's no timetable. You might not have anything in the house to eat because your mum and dad haven't planned any meals and kept a list of the food they need. And the buses and trains would be at random times. It would be chaos. No, I don't think James is telling us not to plan anything, but just like lots of other aspects of our lives, he doesn't want us to forget about God when we're doing it. It would be quite easy to forget God in the process and just rely on our own abilities. One of the things we do when we plan is to try to manage risk. In simple terms, we think about what could go wrong with our plan and then think about how we would react to that thing going wrong. It's something we do almost unconsciously in everyday life, like leaving some extra time for travelling if we've got to be somewhere at a specific time, just in case it's a traffic jam. Now again, that's the sensible and responsible thing to do, but perhaps sometimes the thing that we think is going wrong is actually God taking his part in the plan. I was reminded of this in thinking about Party in the Garden. We've been holding the party every other year for the last 10 years. As the date approaches, we watch the weather forecast nervously, hoping that it will promise us a warm and sunny day. After all, nobody wants to party in the rain, do they? Well, last year our hearts sunk as the date approached and the forecast predicted rain. Reluctantly, we quickly pulled together a plan to have a party in the church instead of a party in the garden. But would anyone come? Well, of course, we all had a wonderful time and welcomed lots of visitors. And because we were inside, we all had to squash up a bit and we got to engage more with those visitors. It was a great success. Maybe that was God's part of the plan. So what am I going to add to my checklist for planning in a Christian context? Well, firstly, alongside preparing the schedule and doing the risk assessment, I'm going to spend a little time thinking about what God might want to accomplish in the plan. Secondly, when things seem to go wrong, I won't lose hope. It may be God playing his part. And lastly, when it's all over, I'll try not to forget to say thank you to God for being there with me. Thank you. Amen.